The Watchers, as we call them, seems to be a really old species with an unusually long lifespan. But that is all we know about them. Our first encounter with the Watchers was around 2027, when researchers of the Artemis Base Camp were sent to survey the dark side of the moon for potential helium-free mining locations. When their ground-penetrating radar equipment returns an unusual cuboid-shaped cave in the ground, HQ was immediately notified, and an expedition team was sent to dig and explore the site. What we found was shocking. A charred bunker of some sort with damaged alien technology and equipment. The bunker is lifeless. While initially there were attempts to keep it a secret, when it is determined that there are no threats to this discovery, the public was informed in the year 2030. The public, although having never met the Watchers, were elated to discover that humanity is not alone. Toys, souvenirs, and trinkets related to them have become massively popular. One that sold particularly well is a book, a translation of a journal that survived the fire in the bunker. Here are some of the more interesting excerpts from the book. Rotation 0, Revolution 0. I was moved to system untranslatable in the natural satellite in the third planet of the system to watch after a peculiar species, after the last species caused a nuclear war on their planet, causing them all to die out. It was a sad but very common sight in the universe. Anyways, this newly discovered species, the humans as they call themselves, have ridiculously short lives of only about 1.5 of a revolution. In terms of technology, they advance pretty well, advancing to higher efficiency in their food production. Based on my initial observations, the planet seems to be relatively peaceful. They were, however, particularly vicious in the smaller landmass, where blood sacrifices are a common ritual. Anyways, I guess this is where I'll be for the next few revolutions, watching another species from the skies. Rotation 45, Revolution 16. It seems like my initial assumption of a peaceful species was wrong. I have observed major civil wars over political control in one of the bigger empires established which caused them to split. Even in their primitive technology, the wars have caused a significant amount of loss of life. I reported my findings to the observatory, and they told me to keep a close eye on them. I suppose the Grand Council won't be too pleased if they must deal with another species like the untranslatable. Rotation 13, Revolution 51. I must admit, while they may be aggressive, their art and culture fascinate me a lot. I may consider paying them a visit to borrow some of the art and appreciate their architecture culture. The folks at the observatory wouldn't normally allow unnecessary visitations, but they don't have to know about my visit, right? Rotation 42, Revolution 60. I made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment. Visiting the planet, in disguise of course, has proven to be a huge mistake. My touchdown on Earth, that is what the humans call their planet, has brought an infectious disease to them. It was so severe that the Minister of Extraterrestrial Life must reprimand and scold me for my carelessness. My pay has been postponed for 5 revolutions. I was worried that my visit would cause their extinction, but thankfully, it seems that they have developed immunity towards the plague. Yes, they may have survived, but 60% of the population in one of the major continents was lost. But hey, at least I got this sick, gothic painting though. Rotation 58, Revolution 65. The data collected from the contact with the mainland and the Americas is invaluable. While not technically first contact, the data could provide us with information on how humanity would treat other species in the event of first contact. It's such a fascinating case of how a species could be so separated from their own planet. Unfortunately, the humans' lust for brutality caused a series of conflict in the continent, and I was sad to see most of the natives' culture replaced. Rotation 17, Revolution 74. Gunpowder-powered kinetic weapons, steam engines, urbanization, was among the few innovations that were discovered by the humans between my entries. The humans have seemed to reach a point where they can industrialize. This stage of technological advancement seems to be achieved faster than we had expected. In my 2,500 rotations of observing a species, never have I seen a species reach industrialization in such a quick rate. Rotation 91. Revolution 79. Never have I seen a species so ingenious, creative, and yet so brutal. A conflict so big that it killed 40 million lives in just 16 rotations. I have never seen a conflict reach tens of millions. The loss of life is so horrifying that I cannot fathom how much of a threat they would be to us if they ever figured out space travel. The weapons they used are not any less scary. Chemical weapons designed to kill en masse, flame-spitting machines, and big bulky vehicles with kinetic weapons. Truly a horrifying species. Well, at least they have stopped now. I hope they learn from their mistakes. Rotation 66. Revolution 80. Impossible! I was awakened by my monitor displaying moving images of a funny-looking man shouting at a stadium commencing some sort of sports event. This is incredible. I can watch the humans' televised shows from the comfort of my own bunker now. But I'm surprised at how quickly they developed their technologies. It has only been 5 or 6 revolutions since they first discovered primitive steam engines. As protocol, I amplify and send the radio waves back to the observatory. I'm sure the people of our empire would love to watch this as much as I did. Rotation 4. Revolution 81. By untranslatable. A second major conflict had occurred around the world. This time worse than the one that happened a mere 1 revolution ago. 80 million dead in 25 rotations. That's twice as much death as the previous one. I was especially taken aback when a few bright spots appeared on my monitor, showing the entirety of Earth. Apparently, they have invented nuclear bombs and have used 2 on civilian populations. How? They went from simple wooden planes to nuclear fission in less than a revolution. A species so young, gaining the powers of nuclear is extremely dangerous. I immediately contacted the observatory to warn them of this news, and they were rightfully horrified. Our species had only discovered nuclear fission roughly 250,000 revolutions ago, and flight was only achieved 350,000 revolutions ago. To think a species so small and young was able to achieve what our species took 10,000 revolutions in less than a single revolution is terrifying enough. Rotation 70. Revolution 81. Tensions have been high since the last war, and there have been a couple hundred nuclear detonations that I have detected on Earth. However, my heart sank when I saw that bright light near the major power called Soviet Union. A nuclear detonation was so large that I have never seen the scale before. None of the warheads we have in our battleships can create an explosion that large. Have humans surpassed our technology? Surely not. They only got out of their orbit a few rotations ago. I quickly analyzed the technology that caused this detonation, and found out that humans have used what is essentially a double nuclear bomb. This bomb was not the first of its kind too, just the largest. I sent the information back to the observatory, hoping we can also adapt this technology to our military equipment. Rotation 4. Revolution 82. They are here. On the moon. Only a half a revolution back, the first artificial satellite was launched by the Soviet Union. Now, the United States has sent their man up here. I cannot put into words how insane their technological development is these past few revolutions. I have called for a team to pick me up from this outpost. I do not think that my bunker will stay hidden any longer. I will try to stay within the confines of my bunker until my ride arrives. The tension on Earth has reached a point where an all-out war of nuclear powers would begin. This is a sight that is not too unfamiliar to me. Like many other species, humanity is at the point where they could wipe their own species within a rotation. I'm unsure whether a species this young can understand the consequences of nuclear war. Rotation 95. Revolution 82. It looks like nuclear war is avoided, for now. The collapse of the Soviet Union marks the end of their Cold War, and some efforts of denuclearization have been discussed. My time here won't be any longer. With the frequency of the missions to the moon, I must not risk discovery. I will begin the process of destroying my instruments, and leaving only necessary ones. Rotation 4. Revolution 84. I'm going home. The ship is here. It is a longship disguised as an asteroid. The engineers back in the observatory weren't too keen on modifying the ship, but I insisted on the change due to the rapid technological advances made in aeronautics fields of the humans. I just can't risk our species being found out. My stay here was an extremely short one, and I think I'll miss it. Their art, music, and culture are one thing I've never seen matched by other species, but again, their lust for blood might make me rethink. Anyways, I got to pack my human painting and some cool rovers before I can fit in this journal quickly. I heard that there's an unmanned mission on development to land on this side of the moon.